Looking to get more growth and more profit out of your paddock? You can with Legacy Livestock Finance. With rates that make sense and healthy profit margins come sale time, it's time to gain more with Legacy Livestock.
Kerry Lonergan with you for our first ever Street Talk for 2024 here at Beef in Rocky. And one of the highlights of coming to this beef, or any beef in fact, is always the tech area. And this year, the absolute highlight is the amazing amount of reference to the carbon game. 2 beefs ago it was hardly mentioned, now it's the highlight. Right now, on behalf of Rhinogard by Zoetis and Legacy Livestock, we're going to talk to people about what's happening in the carbon game, and is it getting any easier, and is it more understood, and is it all about the money? Is carbon a hard sell?
Carbon, it's not necessarily a hard sell, but it's a matter of people understanding really on the soil carbon side of things, working out is it actually a viable project in the first place before you jump into it.
Is carbon still a hard sell?
It can be, but more and more people coming on board, particularly with the issue of ACCUs in the last 6 months. So we've seen over 240,000 ACCUs issued for soil carbon.
What's an ACCU?
An Australian Carbon Credit Unit.
Thank you. Is it a hard sell though here?
Not really. It's about managing your property and being able to incorporate a carbon project as well as your cattle or your sheep or any other industry that you might actually run.
Is the carbon game getting any easier to sell?
I won't go in selling. I think that's a hard word of saying that. There's a lot of interest. People are knowing it's out there but don't know where to go and who to trust. And people are just gaining knowledge. So what we're here today about is just gaining knowledge, for people to gain knowledge. Come and talk to us and we say, yep, this is a good idea or a bad idea or so forth.
Is carbon still a hard sell?
I think it's getting easier. So for us at AgriFutures Australia, I think it's about there's a lot more information out there. So people are making a wise choice in terms of carbon and what they want to do with that.
Hard but getting easier.
Hard but getting easier.
Now, is it a hard sell, the carbon game?
I think carbon represents a really big opportunity for farmers. It unlocks...
Yeah.
Sure.
No, but is it a harder sell? Is it a harder sell today than it has been, or is it getting easier?
In my prior experience with technology, the selling new concepts to farmers is hard. That's for sure. But if we unlock the revenue opportunities and make the cost benefits stand up, then why not?
The carbon business is still a tough sell?
It is still a tough sell because some of the carbon out there doesn't necessarily help producers. But producers are starting to realise that carbon can actually help with their production, and they're starting to get interested in doing some carbon projects that help with production.
And does the almighty dollar at the end of it, that counts a bit, I would assume?
It counts a bit, but I think the most important thing is to look after producers. Producers can improve their production and get more revenue coming in from carbon when they do that.
So it's not all about the money in your times?
I think we've got to protect the producers, basically. We've got to look after them.
Yet another in this seemingly endless list of carbon sites at beef. Here's Upscale, and it's Shane. Is it still a hard sale?
Yeah, look, it is. It's a high barrier to entry. It's a difficult game to wrap your head around, particularly for us. We do more vegetation styles of management at the moment, and there's actually no methodology in place. We're waiting for the government to set the rules. So hopefully they'll come out later this year, then there'll be a flood of activity, I think, in this space.
So that's interesting. You say, so we need more standards and more regulation and more benchmarks, perhaps?
Yeah, look, it's an established industry and it's been here for some time, but they lasted for 10 years, the methodology, and it expired last year. And then since the new government got in federally, they've done a review, of course, as you do, and they're updating the methodology, and hopefully it'll be out later this year, and it'll allow a soil project to do a vegetation project, to do a plantings project, all to be on the one parcel of land, which is a good thing, but it'll just take time to implement that legislation.
So it's a hard sell, but getting a wee bit easier.
Yeah, look, we wouldn't be in it if we thought there wasn't a market here at the end of the day. The way the world's going with the push to net zero by our governments, trying to get all of these big emitters in this country down to net zero, there's going to be a big need for farmers to create carbon, and there's going to be a market for farmers to be able to sell carbon to these big corporates.
Bottom line, is it all about the money?
No, look, money's important. It allows farmers to diversify, which I think is really important in this day and age, particularly as climate change and drought starting to happen. But if you do a really good vegetation project, you can actually improve the biodiversity outcomes on your farm as well, in our view.
You get some cash in the wallet.
And get your cash at the same time, which is always helpful.
That's it for the moment from Beef 2024 and from the Tech Hub here, which has just been absolutely really wonderful talking to those people about carbon. Now, we're here for Rhinogard from Zoetis and, of course, Legacy Livestock. Back tomorrow with more from Beef, where too much beef is never enough.
Protect your weaners from BRD with one spray of Rhinogard for IBR and one shot of Bovishield MH1 delivered one time on farm. Talk to your cattle vet or local reseller before weaning.
There's only one BRD program for me.